The concepts of awareness and consciousness are very familiar to us because we hear these words fairly often. Maybe when you go to the doctors, maybe when you're speaking to your parents, maybe when you're speaking to your friends or whatever, we hear them often, right? But what is awareness? What is consciousness? What do they encompass? What do they mean? How do you cultivate awareness and consciousness? What do they change about your experience of life as well? That's what I want to talk about today. Hello and welcome to Productively Mindful. My name is ailandas.sulcas and I talk about everything mindfulness and spirituality several times a week. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell underneath to not miss any of the videos that I post several times a week. If I flay around a lot, please excuse me because I am being eaten by horseflies and midges. For those of you that live in such climates that permit the existence of these little buggers, you will understand. It is quite annoying, but part of nature, part of life. It is what it is, right? It's not gonna hurt me. It's just gonna make my skin a little bit itchy. But anyway, so what is awareness? What is consciousness? How do they intertwine? How do they work together? How do they change our lives? First of all, let's look at what awareness is. And awareness is something that I talked about in my last video, which I'll link in the top right-hand corner underneath if you want to check it out. But in essence, awareness is a small part of what consciousness is. Consciousness is more of an all-encompassing thing, whereas awareness is just a small part of consciousness. Awareness and consciousness can coexist, but awareness can exist on its own as well. Same as consciousness can exist on its own, and it does exist on its own. What awareness essentially is awareness is something that allows us to experience things like sensations within our body and outside of our body. All the five senses that we have, which is seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and touching, are what construct the physical objective reality in front of us. Awareness basically allows us to detect and perceive internal and external states that affect our physical existence. Now, it is quite limited. As an example, awareness would be a case of you feel like you're cold, you feel like you're warm, you feel like you're hungry, you sense pressure from a heavy object, stuff like that. You smell a very delicious meal being cooked. All these things, that's awareness. That's you being aware of the external and internal events that give substance to moment existence. Consciousness, on the other hand, covers a lot more. It's a very broad and complex state. Consciousness covers simple awareness. It covers self-awareness. It covers self-identity, a subjective self-identity. It covers subjective self-experience. Consciousness is where thought, the sense of feeling, and purposeful action comes from as well. And like I said, awareness can exist on its own, but consciousness builds upon the existence of awareness to create a more rich and complex experience of life altogether. So some of you might have noticed when I was talking about what consciousness is, that some of the features of consciousness is how you can describe your ego. All the thoughts that arise there, that internal perpetual chatter, self-awareness, the awareness of the physical existence of us, identification with this physical body that we harbor. This is the ego. This is where a lot of our suffering comes from. And being conscious is what brings this perk of the ego. And it might sound like I'm saying that consciousness is the reason for our suffering, because the ego is the reason for our suffering. But the fact that we have our ego is very, 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 very important, because our ego is the reason why we are able to survive in this conventional approach to life that's been built by society. Our ego is the reason why we can logically function in this world, and logic is the dominant force living life the way everybody lives life. It is a very, very important part of us, our ego. So it's not that we want to get rid of our ego through practices of mindfulness and spirituality. We want to make our ego be reborn. We want to separate ourselves from the ego, create distance, create a different identity which stems from within, and not one that's created by what happens around us through experience, through emotions, through feelings, not through time traveling within our mind, trying to change a past result that we don't like or create some sort of fictional future. We want to understand that we are separate from our ego, from the identity that we created, which is what is going to allow us to create that separation, essentially create ego death. And once the ego is reborn, it's reborn in the backgrounds of your consciousness. It doesn't have that much of a substance, it doesn't have that much of a hold on you, and therefore it allows you the space to expand and grow and essentially awaken. So how do we build awareness? And again, I want to refer to that video that I posted last week. I talked about awareness being almost our sixth sense to some degree, because awareness is what gives substance to the experience of life. Awareness is the foundation of all of our senses, and it allows us to unlock a broader range and capability of our senses. Again, when I say senses, I'm referring to those five senses that I talked about earlier. I'm not going to expand on it too much here because I already talked about it, so if you want to check out that video. But being aware, in essence, being aware of our five senses allows us to see more, to hear more, to smell more, taste more, and touch more, I guess, experience more through our touches. That is what awareness does. It is the baseline. It is the sixth sense that increases our ability to experience the world around us through a stronger sense of awareness. So if you build awareness through simply becoming more aware of your senses, of those five senses, how do you build consciousness? How do you increase your ability to be conscious of life? Well, to be fully and truly conscious, first of all, you need to be fully and truly aware, because awareness is part of the conscious experience. So you need to work on awareness first and foremost, because it affects both your ability to be aware and conscious. Secondly, potentially the most difficult and draining part of becoming more conscious is allowing life to just life in front of you, not fighting this beautiful play of reality that unfolds in front of us every single moment. Accept your emotions. Do not judge life or anything that happens in front of you. Understand life as opposed to just know it. Most of our suffering does come from not doing these things, through non-acceptance, through judgment, through simply knowing what life is and not truly and fully understanding it. If we get presented with a piece of information or some sort of a event or experience in front of us that we do not like, or rather our character does not like, does not understand, does not accept, we instinctively start judging it, start denying it, start pushing it away, which in turn creates this double dialogue in your head, creates this questioning in your head about what's happening in front of you. Why is it happening? If it's giving you suffering, why are you suffering because of it? It just creates a lot of pain, negativity, unease, fear, anxiety, can lead to depression, a lot of stress. A lot of illness comes from it as well. Our illness comes from what we feed our mind. If we feed our mind negativity through pushing away emotions and letting them resurface over and over and over again when we get triggered, we will never heal. We will never truly heal, and eventually it's going to lead to physical repercussions, physical, actual illness. And if you want to treat that, all you'll get given is some medication to offset the symptoms without truly, fully resolving the underlying issue, which is the sustenance that you give to your mind, the way you approach life, the way you overcome difficult scenarios in your life. Almost got hit in the eye by a horsefly. That's literally what I said. I'm being attacked. I'm being mauled over here. So I talked about how you cultivate awareness. I talked about how you cultivate consciousness. Very simple in concept, very difficult in practice. But what are the benefits of those things? What are the benefits of cultivating awareness and consciousness? Well, very simple. With awareness, you become aware of the 95% of the things that you miss living life. All the beautiful foliage that you might drive past and not even notice. All the beautiful people that are around you that you don't really, again, notice and fully, truly understand, and you're not aware of them. You might miss out on a lot of beautiful things in life. That's what awareness brings. And being conscious means being accepting of everything that unfolds in front of you, everything that is life, everything that is reality. It's a spice of life. It gives flavor and substance to life. It gives flavor and substance to experience. It's almost like moving from a gray screen TV to a 4K Ultra HD 60-inch mega QLED LCD TV, something like that. It's a big difference. There's a lot more that you can experience. There's a lot more that you can notice. Everything's a lot clearer. Everything makes more sense. Everything's more natural and familiar. That is the difference. That is exactly the difference that you get from cultivating awareness and consciousness. One thing to note though, these are results that come to you eventually. There is a very high chance that you will experience a lot of discomfort, a lot of suffering, a lot of pain and fear as you're going through this journey, because once you're on the journey, once you start it, it is very likely that everything that you will know will fall apart, and you will feel like everything that you thought was real is not actually real, which is real. It's a real feeling, and it will make more sense the more you practice it. But bear with it. Bear with it. Allow it to happen. Understand what is happening, because you're just simply shifting. You're shifting to a different understanding. You're moving away from knowledge to understanding of what life is, of what reality is. I hope you enjoyed this video. I am a mindfulness and spirituality guide, and I have a free community where I talk about stuff like that twice a month, which is exclusively on that community. I also post monthly videos talking about topics that you guys choose, and cover stuff that will be exclusively there. I will not talk about it anywhere else. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you click the link underneath this video. The community is completely free. Everyone's welcome to join. It's monitored by me, and I'm going to make sure that everybody that joins is like-minded and is wanting to grow spiritually and mindfully. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you click like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let's have a discussion underneath. Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree with what I said? I'm always eager to learn different perspectives, because everything that I talk about is from my personal experience. It also allows my channel to grow and me reach a bigger audience, and then conversely create more and better content. So every little bit helps, and I really appreciate it. This has been ailandas.sulcas from Productively Mindful. I love you all, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon. I don't have the jingle anymore, but jingle, jingle, jingle. Jingle, 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 goodbye. I don't know if you can hear that, but jingle.